Even in the Notre Dame media sphere, there's going to be people upset with this news. What is it, you ask? I'll tell you what it is. I'm starting to feel better and get my energy back. And my voice is coming back. My energy's coming back. It's bad news for people who don't like hearing me and seeing me, folks. Happy to be here. Happy to have all you here. Listen, we're in a, look at this. The phone lines are popping already. We'll get to it early today. Here's the thing. The thing is, we're in an in-between period here. Between now and the bowl game, we got all sorts of time. We got all sorts of time to break it all down. We could talk about a multitude of issues. We could take it anywhere you want to take it. We could talk about Pine and the quarterback situation. I want to cover the portal chaos, the absolute portal chaos. And if that's good for the sport, bad for the sport, good for Notre Dame, bad for Notre Dame, where does Notre Dame fit in this free agency? Call it what it is. Call it what it is. How much student athleteness is going on when 3,000 guys want to leave and go somewhere? I'm open to all of it. Dr. John mentioned the Heisman. I have some very specific thoughts on the Heisman, especially this year. We could talk about that. I want to talk about the bowl game. I find what's happening with Deion Sanders very interesting. Very interesting. Some of the drama there with his jump to Colorado and what I've been reading has been going on behind the scenes at the HBCU he just left. That interests me. The playoff interests me. There's some unique angles there. We could take this wherever you want. Who do you want Notre Dame to get in the portal? Transfer quarterback, all of that. So we could play this out and we could go wherever you guys want to go. I'm down with it. But bad news for people, my energy's coming back. I'm feeling good again. I'm feeling better. Not quite 100%, but I'm getting there. People aren't going to like it that already don't like me talking. All right, here's what we're going to do. Introduction, roll call, phone calls. Shoot wherever you want to shoot. All right, that's what we're here for. I'm here to give you a voice, okay? So that's what we're going to do. YouTube, you're already here. Give the video a thumbs up. Appreciate that very much. Notifications on. That way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish, or at Always Irish Inc. Audio only. Anywhere you want me, you can locate me. Call-in line, 312-900-8815. Let me know what you've thinking have seen, okay? Fighting Irish Wire, check it out. Articles every day. Make it a part of your daily Notre Dame routine. All right. We're going to do roll call here in the chats. Highlighted a couple of them I want to mention, and then we're going to get to some calls. I don't want to make people wait today. All right. Here we go. Let's see. I'm going to go back up here. Drunk, you're always in here early, Drunk. Am I in the portal? My brain's in the portal. My brain is in the portal. It's a lot to keep track of with these lines of recruiting and how important that pipeline's always been to all of your success for the history of college football. And now you have some teams with 18 guys leaving this year, 17 guys leaving, 18 guys leaving. 2021-22, 3,085 players entered the portal. 28% ended up landing somewhere else. What do you make of all this? Good for the sport, bad for the sport, gonna ruin the sport. Welcome to the new age. Deal with it. Where are you at in this? How does this affect Notre Dame, where it's hard to transfer into? That's a big, big question. Those undergraduate transfers, other teams are flipping out 12 or 15 guys, and you're sitting there and you can only deal with your recruiting and not have much flexibility unless it's a grad transfer. It ain't. Man, life was already hard. You go down that road, it got a lot harder. You almost have to be in that game to a certain extent to succeed. Am I wrong? In the modern era, it feels like you got to be in that game or you're behind. Filling your depth, just bad decisions in recruiting, and then you could refill. There's a lot of flexibility you have if you're playing that game. Notre Dame's got to be in it to some extent. They're never going to take 15 guys and move them in and out. There's got to be wiggle room, and there's multiple reasons I think there is. And I think Notre Dame's opening this up a little more for Marcus. There's evidence to suggest that. It can't supplant recruiting, but it's going to be important moving forward, I'm afraid, for better or worse. Drunk, it's great to see you here, Drunk. Bobby, good to see you. Bobby Halfacre, John, been watching his show for some time, and when I'm pissy over my team, I watch Mr. John. Always cheers me up knowing I'm not the only fiery ND fan. It's not going anywhere. And the way that I ride these waves up and down with Notre Dame, it's not going anywhere. Let me be that escape. I love it. Here's somebody who might be drinking first thing in the morning. BVG should be coach. Bad start right away. John's angelic voice, drowning out all the Christmas music, especially Mariah's Scary, is proof there is a God. It's probably Rockney, and he's blessing us. BVG should be coach. I don't know what you smoke for breakfast, but I like your tone. Keep it going. I like that. Mariah Scary, here's what I don't respect at all about her. I can't respect when she goes on these Thanksgiving, Christmas parade shows or New Year's, and then they dress her up and she goes up there and then lip sings the whole thing. There's no legitimate singing going on. She moves her mouth to a track behind her, and it doesn't even match. There's like a lag, and it doesn't match. It's awful. It is awful. Guess what, Mariah Scary? If you don't have a voice anymore, you don't get to do these things anymore. Sing it or don't. I don't have patience for it. It bothers me. You're up there doing a live show, but you're lip singing it all. I don't respect that. I don't. If you have no voice, your time to shine is over. It bugs me. You shouldn't be able to do that. Sing it or don't sing it, lady. I can't believe all the Notre Dame stuff to be concerned and mad at, and Mariah Scary's the one that got me. But it just bothers me, the fakeness. Oh, all I want for Christmas is you. You're not even singing it. Get a grip. If you can't sing it, your time being popular is over. Sing it or don't. Faking it. Oh, I could do that. Put me up there and I'll lip sing a Christmas song. Frosty the Snowman. I'm just moving my lips and dance around looking pretty. I don't respect it. Sing it or your popularity's over. Sorry. I did not expect that to come. It pisses me off. It bothers me. Sing it or don't. Anyways. Sorry about that. Jeez, I didn't know that was going to do that. Jaded Clay, I got the tickets. He's going to his first Notre Dame game, first NCAA game ever. Jaded, represent for the squad, baby. Jaded, represent for the squad. No, you're going to have the positive energy from all the always Irish call-in people with you. Rep us loud and love it and enjoy it. That sounds great, especially if you're local, easy to get to. Beautiful, man. Paul Conley, always here, always supportive. I appreciate you. It's really good to have you guys here, the same group. Mikey Poles, he's over here lifting 600 pounds. He's doing deadlifts of 600 pounds while he's watching me. It's nothing to Mikey. I'm talking about a champion weightlifter. You know what I'm talking about? Always Irish security when we go to an away game. Mikey, can we make that deal? Always Irish security. We go to an away game. I can run my mouth a little bit with you behind me as my bodyguard. Let's do it, baby. I'm a small, skinny guy. I start running my mouth. I need some backup. All right? I'm not trying to start any fights I can't finish. I need some support. Dr. John, good morning. John in the body of the faithful. Man, this makes me seem like I'm in some religious capacity here. Pope John. Thought maybe the Heisman could be a topic today also. All quarterbacks, unimaginative. The way this award has been going to the biggest guy at the biggest brand a lot of times, don't like it. But all quarterbacks is quite unimaginative. As much as I despise Michigan, you couldn't throw Blake Corum an invite just so it's not all quarterbacks. Throw Blake Corum, the great Michigan running back who had terrific numbers till he got hurt. You can't. He was a big reason for their success in the regular season when they were running over high school teams. He did a good job of it. You can't throw that guy an invite. I just think the all quarterbacks is a little lame and unimaginative. Rudy, good to see you. Angela, always good to have a Rudiger here. I say that all the time. Dr. John, are you hosting an Always Irish Christmas party? We're going to get to the phones in a minute, folks. Stay tuned. Are you hosting an Always Irish Christmas party? I'm not going to do that, but Dr. John, I am honestly and legitimately looking into creating an Always Irish charity golf outing, either in the Chicago area or like at the Warren course at Notre Dame. I really, really strongly have an urge to do that with a charitable aspect. If it's in South Bend, something for a South Bend Children's Hospital, Ronald McDonald House in Chicago, very close and personal to me for family reasons, what that entity provides. Have some Notre Dame people I'm connected to come back, help promote everything for charity. I really, really want to get into that and use this as a charity arm and a way for me to meet more people and us to all get together. Doing tailgates at the games is fun, but it's hard and it's a little chaotic. I would like to set something up like that, and I'm dead serious about doing it in the next couple years. I need to know people will be able to come to it and participate. It's hard. We're all spread out all over. It's not John, always Illinois, and everybody who likes sits around Illinois and it's local. It isn't like that with us. So I'm playing with that, but that's going to be a big gathering I want to have and do some good for charity, help out the community a little bit. Okay. Jaded, Mark Holzum, good to see you here. Navy versus Army, who you got? Haven't given it a thought. Couldn't tell you. It just, I'm sorry, doesn't do nothing for me. I like looking at the uniforms or sharp. I just don't. I haven't given it a thought and I won't. Oh, look at this. Phil is back in the portal. I was joking about that. I'm like, hey, I told my dad, I said, I heard there's a big arm, big body guy in the portal Notre Dame should get. And he goes, oh, who is it? I said, Phil. And he just started laughing. He's like, come on, man. He's like, this guy's done with Notre Dame and they're done with him. It's funny. He ends up with Narduzzi, the lunatic down there. Find something else to complain about. I love anytime Narduzzi's mad, I'm happy. It's just the way it goes. Just looking at that guy bugs me. Just looking at his face bugs me. I'm sorry. It's just Narduzzi face. Like, what are you complaining about now? Zone 6, go Army, beat Navy. Good to see you here. Notre Dame 21-64. I can't keep up with all the portal stuff, man. It makes my brain hurt. Dude, it's wild. It's wild. And if you're an old school cat like me or an old school guy, it's like you're out of touch. This is the modern wave. The players have all the autonomy. Fine. I just think it's hard to control when it gets to a certain extent. I just wonder if there's a saturation point with that, where it can only go so far before it's unmanageable. Unmanageable. I just think there's a tipping point in a line. And I think it's really hard to maintain a solid culture when you have that many guys coming and going all the time. How do you maintain your value and your tone and your culture as a team when you have 18 guys coming and going in a year, 17 guys coming and going, and then you add that in a 3 or 4 year span, it's 20, 40, 60, 80 guys coming and going. I think you got to be careful about the guys you get and the culture fit. And that's lost in a lot of this. It could go the other way on you and backfire. Similar to like Jimbo, Texas A&M, all those guys they paid NIL and all the 5 stars. Nobody's ever had 8 5 stars in a class. They couldn't win a game this year. Something's wrong. It isn't just that talent. You got to have a culture and a vibe and people get in line and buy into it. I don't think you have that when everybody's told there's a star and there's all this money involved. Or with transfers, a guy's got a chip on their shoulder. You got to be careful with that. You just have to. Bass and Domer, Phil landed at Pitt. Yes, he does. Irish trending. I like that logo, by the way. Give me a Hudson Card. Who do you want? Do you want Card? Do you want Leary? Here's a rumor I was hinted out last night. There's a tweet out. Drake May's going to enter the portal. Then it was said that was debunked as not being true. However, I was told people have people that kind of ancillary reach out to these guys. Theoretically, if there was $1 million on the table for NIL, would that interest you in leaving North Carolina? It's full-blown tampering, but that's the game. Have somebody reach out to that camp and just say, for $1 million, any interest in leaving North Carolina? Because the reality is, as cool of an old guy I think Mac Brown is, you're not going to win anything in North Carolina. You're not winning a championship. You probably aren't going to have the dudes around you to win a Heisman. I don't know. Are you interested? I don't know. But is Card or Leary your top guys? Who do you want? Notre Dame's going for a quarterback in the portal. Who is it? Who do you want and why? Tell me. Call me. All right. Almost caught up with the chats. Then we're going to the phones. We could cover anything you want to cover. We'll go there. Good. Arnie says, good morning, Irish Nation. Happy to be off Wednesdays now so I can watch live. I'm happy to have you. Phil Hags here. Phil, man, one of my biggest supporters. Phil's here all the time. Deb Thomas, like clockwork. Every day you guys are here, and it means the absolute world to me. Dr. John and D. Angela, do you still get residuals from Rudy when it airs on TV? I'm telling you, we covered it before. If you watch the movie Rudy, Angela's in our chat every day. She's in the movie as a little girl. You could see her there. And every time I watch it, I just go, oh, hi, Rudy, little girl Rudy. Pretty funny. Stylight's in here, and I think he was booing when I when I said I felt better and was going to talk again and be more accessible. He said boo. I understand that. I really do. V1 rotate V2. Missed you in South Bend. Was glad to be back and visit. Yeah, I got to get over there sometime soon. I like going when there's no games. It's more peaceful and my mind's not racing 100 miles a minute with stress and anxiety of what's going to happen in the damn game. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's true. Mr. Hewtown, this has been the most exciting in-between time ever in college football. The way recruiting and that business has taken off the last couple of years, the off seasons, there is no off season. It's just, it changes from games to recruiting and everything else, recruiting and NIL. I mean, it's wild. The off season is not a dead period for football media anymore the way it used to be. Covering that recruiting is full time if you want it to be. Okay. Daniel Harris. Yeah, I saw this. Thanks for joining us, Daniel. You can now bet in Vegas on who goes where in the portal. Like, is this in the spirit of college football, or am I just an out-of-touch old guy? Like, you could tell me, John, you're an out-of-touch old guy. Go ahead. Tell me. Bass and Domer. I'm over talking about Pine. Let's look forward, not back. And listen, man. It's progress. It's progress. What they're doing in that quarterback room. It just is. It just is. A lot of people like Card. Mike, hey, what's going on? I think I see you calling. I'm going to get you up. You were the first one on the line. Hang in there. I got you. Terry, another day, sunny day in South Florida. Ooh, we don't have that here in Chicago, man. I'm jealous. I'll come visit you. Okay, Hudson, a lot of people are saying Card is what a lot of people are saying. They're going to pull that card. The ace is the card. Here's an interesting one. Any concern with Al Washington? Or classes 3 looks really good if anybody sticks, but no top pass rusher. That's a position in the portal I believe Notre Dame's looking to address, is a little defensive line depth. Andrew, it's very weird you bring that up because I had that I was laying in bed last night thinking about this. Thinking about the depth of that defense. I feel there's a ton of young athletic talent in the middle part of the defense, the linebacking core. I feel that Notre Dame's in position to have a very strong secondary. Strong, here's what I'll say. Strong nationally, not strong for Notre Dame. Those are different things. Follow me here. Strong nationally, not just good for Notre Dame and what we're used to. What we're usually used to is having one decent safety or one good safety and one good corner, and that's it. And then you go for the other side and we get burned. Julian Love, fantastic. Hamilton, fantastic. I need 2 or 3 each of them back there at the same time. Okay? Not one of them. At the same time. Like, that's what elite looks like. More than one of them dudes. Let's go. Let's go. Hudson Card. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that. ND's going to have to loosen the reins a little bit. ND9, I got news for you. I feel like that's happening. And I just think with some of the guys Notre Dame has entering the portal, like I feel like there's more of an effort to open up scholarships and be more open to this moving forward. I have nothing to prove this. I have nothing to prove what I'm going to say next. It's just what I believe. I believe that Marcus Freeman's personality generates more goodwill with the Notre Dame administration than Kelly's did. And I believe that the difference is stark. And I think that matters in terms of getting things done at Notre Dame. It would not surprise me at all if Marcus Freeman could get more accomplished infrastructure-wise, changes he wants to implement, little stuff, than Kelly, just by the means of everybody likes him and he's a good guy and he treats everybody a nice way. I think that matters at Notre Dame. And in my heart, I feel like he'll be able to get more accommodations and the things he needs to win than Kelly did because he treats people the right way all the time and everybody wants him to succeed. When Kelly was there, people wanted the program to succeed. It had very little to do with him towards the end. Just personality differences, okay? But I do believe that. Let's see what else. We got the Nature Boy here with his typical go dogs, the Nature Boy. Woo! The 4 horsemen, baby. Different than my 4, but I still like those horseman references. John, why didn't you get up there and sing it? If it's going to be lip singing, I can. And if it's going to be lip singing, there's no reason I can't do it. I'm serious. It pisses me off. Sing the song or get off the stage. Your time is over. Okay? John, please just get your voice back. I feel like it's back. Listen, V1, rotate V2. How would America react if there was a presidential run by another John Kennedy who happens to be Catholic and happens to have naturally dark brown red hair? You want to talk about some irony? We'll kick back up that John Kennedy presidential ticket. Who's my Marilyn Monroe? Find her for me. Let's ride, baby. Let's ride. Don't even get me started on Kennedy and Giancana and the Chicago mob. There's a lot there. There just is. All right, now I'm to the part of the chats where everybody saw me going off about yelling about Mariah Scary. That's what I call her, Mariah Scary. John, I love how much hate you have today. It's not hate. It's just I feel more myself, so I can go off in these little rants. Oh, man. Here we go. Irish 454. Any answers as to why receiver recruiting so poor with the 23 class? I don't think it is. Do you guys think it is? I think they're making strides in that area in 23 and 24. You're going to have some of those receivers next year I think can contribute right away. So I think they're actually improving in that area. Am I missing something? I do think that Card. A lot of people say Card. A lot of people say Card. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know. Here we go. Kent's in the house. I need my Always Irish family to buy up CFP ticket to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl. That's my birthday wish, y'all. We're going to send Kent there on a mission. We're going to send Kent to the playoffs. Only if Michigan loses. That's my only priority with the playoff. I don't care what else happens. I just need them to not win it. I don't care who does. It can't be them. That's my rule. Sorry, I'm late. Stupid work. Need a doctor note from Dr. John to get off a couple hours today. Josh Miller. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. No, future is the receiver recruiting doesn't improve. Recruiting overall needs to step up with the big time teams. They're number 3 right now. I don't know what else. Irish 454. If they end up in the top 5, that is genuinely about as good as Notre Dame's you could expect them to do in this era of under the table NIL money and not having to read and write to go to college. If we end up in the top 5 every year under Freeman recruiting, I even as strict of a judge as I am, can't ask for much more than that. I'm sorry. How about Drake Bowen winning the Buckets? He is going to be a leader of this program for a long time. You could see it. You could feel it. That is a leader on the field, off the field, total tough guy, Notre Dame grinder, the attitude. I love everything that guy's bringing. Future leader of the program, 100%. Drunk says, BK hated ND and ND people, bro. I'm sorry. I don't think he loved us. It was not genuine. It wasn't. You could feel it. There was a resentment to us that we wanted to win championships. He resented the bar being winning playoff games. He resented it. He didn't like us that was our bar. There's proof of that in press conferences. After the Alabama playoff loss, he got up there and ranted about, somebody said, you know what, congratulations, coach, on a good season. And he said to that, well, none of our local beat guys in our fan base doesn't think that. Thanks for at least somebody saying it. Everybody in the fan base and our media, all they want to know is, how do we get better? And why couldn't we win this game? Yeah, you're damn right I'm asking that question, pal. You're damn right we're asking that question. He resented it. He resented that we had that bar, and he refused to work hard enough to make reaching it reality. He did. Oh, John, what do you mean? He did the best he could. No, he didn't. Lazy recruiter. No, he did not. Did you see the interview with Kaiser recently? They said, how was your recruitment to Notre Dame? Deshaun Kaiser, what'd he say? I never talked to Brian Kelly, and then I came there for a visit and met him for a few minutes. But I had no communication with Kelly before that visit. That is a fireable offense. That is negligence. It's occupational negligence, the way that guy recruited Notre Dame and then got up there and talked to you like nobody could imagine why we're not getting over the hump. No relationship with the quarterback till they step on campus. You're not getting that guy. You're already 2 to 3 years behind in relationship building. Get a grip, Swamp Thing. Get a grip. Jamal wouldn't mind Hudson Card, Spencer Sanders, or Brendan Armstrong. I've seen DJU. Mentioned. Here's what gets me nervous. All right, I'm going to go to the phones, and then I'll mark some of these to go back. I don't want to make you guys wait. I've seen people mention DJU from Clemson. Big body, flashes of good, but then went off the tracks. And here's my thought. What makes me nervous about DJU is I feel, not in skill set, but mentally, Golson Wimbush comes to me. And I don't like that vibe. It may be unfair. That's just my intuition. I see a guy with way more physical skills than the results are matching. And it almost feels like Golson Wimbush, all these physical skills, but it all gets mixed up in their head or something, and then they're in their own brain, and then nothing works, and then you're thinking instead of playing. I get that vibe from him. Now, maybe a new scene would change all that. A new system, scheme, and scene would change all that. I don't know. Not in skill set, but mentally, I see a lot of Wimbush Golson. Like, flashes where it's really good. You can see that it's going that way, and then not. And then you're like trapped in that. That makes me a little nervous with him. Yeah, there is a Senator, John Kennedy, and he's quite funny. He is known for his one-liners. And he had the commercial that made the rounds where he was mad about what they did with the police. And he said, then you don't like the police. The next time somebody breaks in your house, call a crackhead. That's what he said on the commercial. Next time you don't like the cops, next time somebody breaks in, he said, go ahead and call a crackhead. And that was on all the commercials during the midterms. It's hilarious. I just think it's funny he said that. Oh man, it's great. Yeah, I can't get down with the 23 wide receiver recruits are bad. I'm looking at it as an improvement. They're all ranked in the top. I just think you got to go somewhere, man. You got to go somewhere. You got to start somewhere. John Tagg. John, you made this past season so much more tolerable. Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. And here's the other thing, you guys. This is just going to get better. It's going to get better and better and better. The talent's going to get better. There's more exciting times ahead. The expanded playoff could buy us like another month and a half of an exciting season in the future. There's a lot to like. There is a lot to like. All right. Here we go. All right. Here's something. 454. You're lying. James is 18. Great House 20. Flores 29. I think it's an improvement in that area. It isn't 5 stars all over. It is a vast improvement in numbers and talent over what we've been doing. And that's a realistic starting point. You can't go from no numbers and bad wide receiver play to getting all the top 5 guys in a year. I just don't think that's realistic. Also, the other thing is, which is perfectly fair, if I'm one of these baller quarterbacks, I want to know who the hell's getting me the ball. Right now, I don't see anybody in the Notre Dame roster I trust to get me the ball and highlight my skill set. I'm sorry. You could call that selfish, but if I'm a wide receiver recruit, I would like to know who's throwing me the damn ball for next year. Mystery. No idea. No idea. Oh, no. John going off on the swamp creature all day, every day. I say this all the time, folks. I say it all the time. I will never rip a guy who doesn't succeed as the Notre Dame coach, but I know put in full effort. If a guy puts in full effort and it just doesn't work at Notre Dame, I respect that, and I'm not going to give him a hard time. That's not what Kelly did. He does not qualify. He was an irresponsible recruiter, and it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable how he operated and then got up there and act like he was surprised we couldn't win the biggest games. Joke. All right, let's get over here to some phone calls here. Dr. John, then we're going 5'0". Rodney, I got you, and 707. You guys are up next. Good morning, Dr. John.
Good morning, sir. I'm so glad you're feeling better.
You know what? Your remedies worked. My energy's coming back, and it's been a long few weeks, but it feels good just to be able to breathe without struggling.
Well, that's good because I've had this voodoo doll I've been treating with your name on it, so apparently it's working.
Is it a Brian Kelly one? Does it have his face on it?
Oh, man.
Hey, I got to tell you, your phone line's crystal clear today, brother. What did you change? You're coming through loud and clear. I love it.
I have no idea, but it's not on mute, Kent.
Yeah, this is yeah, exactly. That's good. But you're crystal clear. You wanted to talk about the Heisman a little bit. What are your thoughts on that? I think it's a little bit quarterback heavy,
Yeah.
and it's a little lame to me, but whatever.
Well, it's funny. Only one guy in that room is coming off a win. 3 of them lost their last game.
Right.
Which is kind of funny. But I don't know. I keep thinking, who's the guy from TCU? Duggan?
Yeah.
Is that the way you pronounce it?
Yeah, Duggan. Tough kid. Real tough kid. I love the way that kid fights.
My God.
I love the way that guy fights, man. And he gets up and wants more. I love everything about that dude. I'm a TCU fan. Hook 'em horns or hook 'em. What do they do with their prongs? They stab you. I don't know what it is, but I'm all for them.
I don't know. I am too. I'm rooting for him. My first cousin went there. Well, actually, I guess he's my first cousin once removed. He's the son of my first cousin, a guy. His dad and I grew up side by side at one point in a duplex in Minneota, Minnesota.
Hey,
so anyway,
Dr. John.
TCU, but,
hey, Kent says.
Yeah.
Kent says, Dr. John, voodoo and Catholic don't mix. Be careful what you're stirring up here. Don't be stirring us up any spirits.
I got a little worried. I didn't hear Kent's name for so long.
Yep, he's back, man. He's here.
In the chat late.
Yep. He popped in, man. This guy's loyal. I love him. He's loyal. And hey, Dr. John, Kent went from full-on depression, what happened to Michigan, back to having full-on hope again with the glass half full, right back in the mix. Look at that roller coaster Kent's been on. Down and then back up.
Well, I think you and I and Kent are on the same bandwagon wanting to see Michigan go down. Man, they just cannot win this. And I don't know. I think Georgia is, got a team that's far above all three of the others. So we'll see what happens. But,
yeah. And you know what else? You know what else,
anyway.
Dr. John? Here's what I want to focus on with Georgia real quick. What you're seeing with Georgia is the result, in my opinion, of stacking a whole bunch of top three recruiting classes together. Like it's talent on talent on talent on depth on depth on depth. And that's what happens when you recruit at that level long enough and you have a decent culture and a coach who halfway knows what he's doing. That's what you're seeing because they've been up there in recruiting every single year. That's what you get.
Yeah, and they're right there again. They're number 2, I think, aren't they?
Yep, they're going to be right up there.
This year?
Right up there. They're always going to be up there.
Hey, here's an aside. You mentioned this golf tournament you'd like to do.
Yeah, I want to do a charity. So I want to do something for charities where we can all meet together and then also help out.
Well, I can offer you a little bit of info. I won't do it here, but back in 1990, I had a niece die of cancer, and we created a tournament called the Kelsey Classic for Children's Hospital in Minneapolis. And before we turned it over to the Ronald McDonald House, we had raised over $1 million for Children's Hospital. So anyway, if I can be of any help on info-wise, email me or something, or just give me a call. So.
John, I really appreciate that.
I just want to get that out there.
I appreciate that. And the Ronald McDonald House means a lot to me. We were stuck in one in Chicago with our baby for a long time. They serve an amazing purpose, and I don't know what we would have done without them. So that's a cause very, very close to my heart personally, as somebody who's used that service and needed it. And so it means a lot. If we could team up and help out some kids, I'm all for it. I mean, we would have our fun and do all that, but if we help people out, even better. We will connect on that, my friend. What do you want Notre Dame to do with quarterback transfer? You want us in the mix? Get a guy? What do you think? Card, Leary, stick with our guys? What do you want to do?
I haven't studied it enough. To that where I would recommend somebody, but there would be a problem if we get Card. And that's only because my son-in-law is a big Texas fan, and he would be giving me a lot of crap about taking a guy from Texas. But
yeah,
but if he can help us win, I'll take it. So, but looking forward to the bowl game. I think this is going to be one of the funnest bowl games ever for us because at least at this juncture, I'm approaching it pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be flying to Minneapolis the day before. So I'll watch it with my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter. So that, it's going to be kind of a relaxed, fun thing.
You know what? It's an interesting matchup, John. It's an interesting matchup. Well, I actually like this. For like a 4-loss Notre Dame team, this is about as intriguing of a bowl game as I could expect just because of what South Carolina is trying to build. And they have an energetic young coach that's trying to get going and on track. They have a quarterback that's kind of exciting. And they ended the year with a couple really good wins, but some bad losses. Like there's some mirroring going on there that I see with Notre Dame, kind of similar. And I'm intrigued by the bowl game. I think it's going to be fun. And what are we going to see at quarterback from our end in the bowl game? Right? Like Buckner back out of nowhere. I don't know what we're going to get. It's just going to be interesting.
Well, you know what? I hope we see both Buckner and Angeli in there. And I hope we see a lot of young kids that haven't played much get a chance to just get in there and experience it a little bit.
I was going to ask the group and you, I know Wednesdays are your good call days. I was going to ask, is it a fan thing for me to sit here and look at the bowl game with 4 losses, not the most prestigious bowl, isn't going to move the needle nationally one way or the other, no matter what happens? It's not. Both teams have 4 losses. But is it naive of me as a dumb fan to just go, I want to see youth out there. Give me Sneed and give me, Collie out there at line. I need to see these young guys. Is that just an immature fan take? And that the staff's not going to look at it that way and put the same guys out there? Or is it realistic of us to want to see some flexibility and younger guys get that experience in that moment?
No, I think this should be an opportunity for Freeman to see what some of these young kids can do out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina is doing a similar type thing. I think if he's a coach that's looking to the future, he's going to do that.
Right.
But I don't know. I just have this feeling about this game that it's going to be kind of fun. I suppose if we're down by 3 touchdowns at some point, I'll be feeling differently. But
Dr. John,
I'm really looking forward to this.
Somebody put in the chat, Freeman better just keep Buckner away from any stairs the next month. It's so depressing what's happened to his developmental track. You almost just need to laugh. Like, I feel bad. His football development's 4 legitimate years behind what his body's development is. Like, it's very frustrating and it's just rough. Let me ask you this, Dr. John. You're a long-time college football guy, long-time Notre Dame historian. I have to ask you, is all of this portal stuff good for the sport, bad for the sport? It's just the modern era. Get used to it. Where does Notre Dame fit in it? 3,085 guys entered that portal in 21 to 22. 28% landed somewhere else. Is this just the new age? Get used to it? Or do you reach a saturation point and it balances out? As a long-time college football guy, how do you see that?
Well, first of all, I have no control over it, so I don't want to lose a lot of sleep over it. And the fact of the matter is, here's 2 things from the past. My son spent a year at Bologna in Italy. And when he came back here, he said, Dad, they don't have sports in schools over there. And I said, well, it should be about education. I think you're right. That's the way it should be in the United States. But just don't let it happen until I'm dead. I mean, I don't know how we got this going, that sports are in our schools, but, we got it. It ain't going away. Live with it. This portal thing, who knows if it's good or bad. I think back when we expanded the stadium, some of my fellow alumni were all upset that they were expanding the stadium because it was tradition.
Hey, John, I'm upset with one part of it. I'm upset. There's one part of it I'm still upset with. I'll explain when you're done, but there's one thing I will not forgive about that.
Okay, well, here's what I said. You idiot. You got 20,000 more seats. You can get a ticket easier. I mean, back in that day, it was tough to get a ticket.
Yep. Here's my one complaint, and my father swears by this to this day. He swears them not cutting out an opening so you could see a straight shot of touchdown Jesus from the original dome to the top part. It still bothers me. It is the ultimate signal of money over what this is about. All you had to do is cut one rectangle out so that rectangle of touchdown Jesus is visible the way it was from that original stadium. That was my only thing. Jumbotron, love it. Sweets, fine. I love all that. You needed to keep that opening to touchdown Jesus, and it rubs me the wrong way that they didn't. And that is just a personal mission of mine. I don't like the way that hits me. That's my only thing.
Well, and we all know you have a very thin skin.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take much to get, John, it doesn't take much to get me going. I yelled about Mariah Carey when we opened the show. I had 10 football topics, and I had 10 football topics. I got most worked up about Mariah Carey lip singing. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to mention that, but I'm going to let it go. Oh, who is the guy that the weightlifter?
Mikey Poles is his name. Mikey Poles, and he just got back from the World Championships in Australia. That's my security guy. Me, you, and Kent, we're going to have this dude in front of us. We'll be able to run our mouths all over town. This guy will be our backup.
Well, I'll tell you what, of course, 190 pounds is not anywhere near what he's lifting, but I deadlift 190 pounds several times a day.
Do you? What is it? Yourself walking around?
Every time I get up off of the chair.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is it? Getting yourself up off the ground? Oh, life's hard, John. Life's hard. Life's hard, John.
All right. Hey, I'm gonna turn you loose because you got a lot of people wanting to talk. But I will say, go Navy, beat Army.
There you go. There you go. It's an interesting battle.
Yeah, well, as I told you, as being in the Navy, the only time I root against them is when we play them. So. Yep,
beautiful. Well, then maybe I don't have a dog in that fight, John. I'll pull for you there on you and Frank's naval service, and my grandfather as well. I'll pull for you on that. All right.
Okay, John. Appreciate it. Hey, things are going great. Oh, before I go, you were talking about on Monday about moving. Maybe moving a show to a Friday evening or something. Have you thought more about that?
I am playing with the idea in the off season just to get more traffic when more people are naturally available, not during work days. I think it'd be fun to do a call in earlier in the week, in the evening maybe, or 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, and then do a more laid back Friday night version at like 9 o'clock where people can they're in a good mood. It's Friday night, more relaxed, crack a cold one, and just kind of more chill. It's just an idea.
Well, I was thinking you should make it a happy hour show, but you probably got family obligations at 5 in the afternoon. So.
Yeah, it would. I'm playing with the availability. Like a lot of people have family stuff Friday night, going out for dinner. Like I'm playing with that too. I'm almost shooting for like when people are done with that. Trying to catch a big window. I'll play with it, but something has to happen in the evenings in the off season. I don't feel like there's going to be enough traffic at 9 a.m. every day. So we're going to play with it and we'll see how it goes. We still have some time. I'll let everybody know.
Okay. Well, keep getting better and enjoy the show immensely. And it's so great to see so many regulars always on the chat thing. And that's where I'll go right now. So have a great rest of your week, sir.
You too. Thanks a lot, man. This is like one big happy family, except for the couple people that come in here and troll. And then I don't know, man. Who is this? Who is this? Is it Irish 5454? Somebody said that I was. That he heard the other day, and he knows for sure that when I left, that he heard me snorting rails off the table. It is not that exciting. It was me blowing my nose, and I'm not making people see me blow my nose on camera. It ain't going to happen. So if that sounds like I'm on going full Tony Montana, forgive me. 361, let's have a little fun. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, John?
What's going on, man? What's on your mind? We have a lot of different angles we could go. What's top of mind to you this week?
It's got to be the quarterback stuff and transfer portal in general, because I put out a tweet last night. Like, it's kind of exciting that Notre Dame is in the mouths of these national people talking about the transfer portal. And there's two sides of this, and I know you know this. There's the transfer portal is ruining college football. That's not Notre Dame. We need to stay away from it. We need to do traditional recruiting and build our guys from within and blah, 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 blah. Well, the fact of the matter is, you may think that, but the fact is you have to embrace what is happening. And if you don't, you're going to fall behind. It's that simple. And I'm not saying go all USC style or, all these other SEC just throwing money at kids.
I think there's a balance. There's a balance, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There has to be. And especially in the situation we're in now, if you sat on your hands and said, nope, we're good with the quarterbacks we got, even if Pine stayed, but now even Pine gone, I hear some people still saying, no, we got Mitchie coming in. Let's build Angeli. We got Buckner. Like, that's not realistic or logical for that matter. You can't do that. We have to look at the portal as an advantage and accept it and embrace it.
Now, do you
go from there.
Do you feel like I do, and I've kind of been hinted towards this, that Freeman is requesting more flexibility here, trying to get it and making Notre Dame understand, Notre Dame higher-ups understand, if we're not in this game to a certain extent, there's no way we can even compete. And I feel like we're seeing a little more flexibility with the numbers. And I think Notre Dame's going to get more guys than they usually do out of the portal or a transfer situation. I just think they need to be in the game to some extent. I'm not asking for a free-for-all, and it doesn't matter if the guys can read. Like, they all have to be good kids and have good grades. But they got to make that process easier to get guys in. Adapt, or you're going to get left behind.
Exactly. And I feel like that's the message. That's the message, Freeman, to the administration. It's that simple. We have to embrace this and adapt, or we're going to fall behind. And I think there's some of everything you just said, but also Freeman himself, he's going to find a way, even within the existing restrictions, as he's proven, because there's no evidence that Notre Dame did anything special for Marcus Freeman in recruiting, other than Marcus Freeman busted his ass and proved in 1 year that Brian Kelly was in fact lazy.
Yep.
But now running into the off season, I think we're seeing more of that. We hear from the inside guys and the national guys that there's, Notre Dame's making pushes and doing this, but you have to. Freeman has to present that to the higher ups and say, like, we could say it 87 different ways: adapt or fall behind. What are we doing?
Yep.
And so into that, the quarterback I like the most in this whole scenario, which is obviously going to be the key focus. There are other positions that it would be nice to, add a few guys here or there. But the quarterback, I think it's Hudson Card. And I say that because the other names that are out there, Brendan Armstrong had a really, really bad 21 or 22.
How do you feel about Leary? I've seen that name. A lot of people are intrigued by him. Okay. How do you feel about that?
Yes. I was going to get there. So 2 thoughts on that. One is I've already heard on a national podcast that there's belief that Leary's really interested in the NIL side of things and he wants to capitalize on it before he goes pro. That does not speak to Notre Dame, not because we don't do NIL, but we don't do it the way that he's probably looking at doing it.
Right, up front. Yeah, guaranteed upfront deal. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. And you know what else? Wait a second. I want to mention this. You probably saw this on Twitter too, and it's important. Did you see when that tweet came out, putting out like the NIL values of each school, and Notre Dame was way up there in the top 10? And people are looking at that going, wait a second. I thought Notre Dame wasn't public and out front with NIL. But what that wasn't addressing is what the arrangement is. Notre Dame's NIL isn't if you come here, you get $1 million guaranteed. It's if you come here and you do the right things, you'll have opportunities down the road. That is a huge difference between how we're doing it and what some of those other teams that are on that list are doing it. And it needs to be mentioned because it's totally different.
Yeah, that could be a selling point if you're talking NIL going, hey, look, actually, through research, our system is getting you this on a, per year basis and per player basis, whatever the numbers show to be. But that surprised me just because you hear about the money being handed out. But I'd like to know the formula. It was Action Sports, I believe, that came up with those numbers. How do we arrive there? What's the system? What criteria did you use to arrive at that number?
Yeah.
And
Now,
all I know, they looked at it legitimately.
yeah. Here's one thing that gives me comfort. I feel like I see evidence that Marcus Freeman sees all this stuff the fans do in a way where I never really trusted if Kelly, I didn't feel like Kelly got it because I didn't see him changing the things that needed to be changed that were obvious. I feel like Freeman's modern enough and knows exactly what he needs to do to give Notre Dame their best chance. And I just think he gets it. He gets it.
100%. He's not. Kelly's 60 years old. He's comfortable. He's content. He's got his ways, and those are my ways. And you look at. That's why we don't believe LSU is going to win anything of grand significance, much like he did at Notre Dame. He might have slightly better opportunity by default because of the player pool he has access to. But look at Jimbo Fisher. He's very much set in his ways, and where's A&M going? The Marcus Freeman is young and innovative, and I do think you're going to see those advancements in Notre Dame's recruiting. And recruiting, everybody wants to say recruiting, focus on recruiting. Well, guess what? The transfer portal is recruiting. I heard something the other day that recruiting is no longer 365 days a year. It's like 410 days a year because you have to smash so many days of recruiting into one on top of your high school recruits, your existing roster recruits, your transfer portal recruits. There's so much going on that's all recruiting. It's all under the same umbrella.
Yeah. And that is why it's so important to me. We have a guy like Marcus who's young and tied into that and gets it all. He gets it all. And Kelly's going to recruit fine at LSU. But it isn't because he's changing his approach. It's because it's different recruiting at LSU. Half of their class are going to be local guys that grew up wanting to go to LSU no matter what, and they're good and they're fast. So they're going to LSU. Kelly's going to get credit for that, but it's different. This Freeman gets it. I just think he's tied in enough. He gets it. And whether it all works out or not, I don't know. But I sleep better at night knowing Freeman sees the real modern big picture here. Don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why we're in legitimate contention, if you want to use that word, for a guy like Leary or Card or I'm just throwing names out there, DJU. And
all right. Now, wait. Now, let me ask you this question. Let's say you have Tyler Buckner healed up and healthy. He plays decent in the bowl game. We go into next year. How do you see a competition going down between Tyler Buckner trying to reclaim his top spot and a known entity guy that could throw the ball coming in as a transfer? That's interesting. Do you end up in a position where these transfer guys go to Marcus and Tommy? Well, I don't want to go there and ride the bench. Is this my job? Kind of the way I feel like Cone was given that job. How do you manage that part of this?
Well, here's what's probably going to happen. First of all, for Notre Dame fans listening, you and I, it's a win-win. Whether it's Card or Leary, whoever. If they come in and Buckner beats them out, well, okay, we got our guy. If Card or whoever beats out Buckner, okay, we got our guy. And what likely will happen, unfortunately, is after the spring and they realize, hey, I'm number 2 and I wanted to start, they're going to transfer out. But we have Minchie coming. We got Carr coming. It will suck in season potentially because we might be in a Pine situation again.
Right.
But at least it'll be legitimate competition in the spring. And whoever wins the job will have legitimately won the job. And we can feel good and great about that. And the Buckner thing, if you're Card or Leary, you got to look at the roster. Despite what one guy in the chat was saying, we have legitimate receiver recruits coming in, not to mention Merriweather showed he can play. Coldy came up huge at the end of the season. He can play.
Yeah.
Jaden Thomas showed his worth. We've got the 3 running backs. We've got pieces around you. We were clearly lacking quarterback. All you got to do is send whoever you want to recruit the film of the last 10 games and go, this is what we had. This is what we don't need. We need you. And that will sell them on coming to Notre Dame and look at all the pieces. And the other part of it is, well, what about Buckner? What about Buckner? Nobody, I don't care who you are outside of maybe Freeman and Reese, you cannot tell me you know exactly what Buckner is or isn't. There's not enough film.
Yeah.
There's not enough actual game for you to sit here and go, we're good with Buckner. We don't need anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. And my point is, I'm with you. And what I've been saying is Notre Dame cannot afford to go into next year with another total question mark unknown starting the year at the most important position in the sport. You can't afford to do that. And that is why that a transfer with a body of work where you know what he could do is important right now to this group.
Yeah, and I know Leary and Carter like the 1 and 2. Leary had the injury that ended his season this year. Card, I think he hurt his ankle last year, but he was fine this year. He was good. And statistically, in the games he filled in for Quinn Ewers, he was really good. So he doesn't have the full season of stats Leary does, but he does have success when he's played. He has, for his career in limited action, he's like a 64% completion guy with, I think it was like 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns, only 2 picks. Like the numbers he has presented are solid. And he was the number 2 quarterback in the state of Texas when he was coming out. That matters to me.
Yeah. It's that. Yeah. And just building a bridge of stability in that room until these young guys get in there, that you could have the more natural developmental track, 3 years of this guy, if it's CJ Carr, Minchie, whatever. The blend of being able to patch that together and have those guys coming is one that is very appealing to me. Go get a guy out of the portal. And then I think you'll see the offense get better right away, just because you're going to have a bigger guy that can make more throws. It's not rocket science. It wouldn't take much to make the offense look much better in that area.
Not at all. And the other part of this is the don't get a transfer guy, go with what you've got. Unfortunately.
But I don't know what we have. How can I go with what we got when I have no clue what we got? There's no way to know what we got. And you can't go into every year not knowing if you have the most important position in individual sports figured out. How many years are we going to do that?
Well, here's the problem with that, John. Everything you just said, but also in today's society, forget college football in a nutshell. Like, what have you done for me lately? If you decide you're going to, no, we're good, we're going to see what we got, that 1 year could be detrimental to those wide receiver recruits. You can't afford to, quote unquote, take a year off to see.
Yeah.
You've got to try to strike now, because what have you done for me lately is going to sit in the mind of whether it be a transfer recruit or a high school recruit. They look at that stuff and they care about, are you winning now? Why do you think A&M is having a mass exodus?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, now here's the one thing that I do like. I think Marcus Freeman is in touch with the vibe and with the culture enough. I do not have any worries about the transfer portal. If Notre Dame gets in it, it's going to kind of go wild and start making the team culture go sideways. Marcus isn't going to allow that to happen. He's going to be very specific about the guys he picks. He also doesn't want to burn Jack. If he does get the approval to have more flexibility, Marcus is going to want to respect that and be very careful with the guys. I just think we need to use it, and you need to blend it and use it where you can use it. And they need to be open to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you had said, I don't know how long ago you said this, but I feel like Freeman's the type of guy that has you got your recruiting coordinator and whatnot, but you've got like a transfer portal guy that his only job on the staff is to watch that transfer portal for top end athletes that fit the Notre Dame system and what we need as a student athlete. And I hope we're doing that, because it's only going to grow, but we can't we can't be USC. We can't be the SEC with this
Yeah.
transfer portal stuff.
And I don't want us to be. That's the other thing, dude. I don't want us to be, because you're not Notre Dame if you're building everything that way. I'm not advocating that we turn into that. There is a reasonable middle ground here to do both. It doesn't have to be straight by the books, no transfers, or write all the checks and open it up and flip half your team. I'm looking for a reasonable middle ground that keeps Notre Dame competitive. And I think that's perfectly fair to expect and ask.
Correct. And I will say, there's a reason Hudson Card and Devin Leary are looking at Notre Dame while Notre Dame is looking at them, because we have put ourselves in a position to attract top end transfers. And you have to be open to that, while also seeking out a wide receiver recruit or a linebacker or a D lineman, whatever it might be. And all within the parameters of Notre Dame's tradition and
values. Yeah.
It's doable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I again, with all this discussion, what I always come back to is I lay down my little Irish head on the pillow at night, and I at least know when I go to sleep that Marcus Freeman gets it. And he's doing all he can to modernize us and keep us competitive. I genuinely did not feel that under Kelly, especially later in his tenure. I feel that here, and that helps me sleep easy, man. Any other final thoughts? Really good call, man.
No, I just wanted to have that back and forth with you regarding the quarterbacks and the transfer portal and Notre Dame's position on the whole thing. It was a good talk, man. I appreciate it.
Listen, I'm with you. They need to blend this and keep it within their framework, but work it. And I'm with you, and I think they're doing it, and I think it's going to help. And make sure everybody, 5 foot nothing under nothing. Look it up anywhere you get your audio podcast. Thanks for the call, my friend. Anytime.
Always, John. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Have a good day, man. All right. I hate to do it, but I got to blow my nose. I'm not ripping lines. I just need to blow my nose. Only one time. Rodney, 818 next, 707-618-864. Those are going to be the next up. Give me 10 seconds. I'm not ripping the snow. Give me a break. That's how I judge. That's how I judge how I'm feeling. However many of the least amount in a day, the better I'm feeling. All right, 818. It's going to be great. What's going on today?
Brad Henry, your time trolling the Always Irish community has come to an end.
You know what, though?
And so,
you know what?
And all my leprechauns of the night, you will rest in peace.
That's a pretty good Attitude Era Undertaker. I like that, Rodney. That's good. You know what, though? I think Brad Henry might have turned into Irish 454. I don't remember seeing. No, I don't remember seeing Irish 454 in this chat before. And now they're up here today, and they're on some of the same stuff Brad was. I think the email might have changed. An Irish 454. I think it might be Brad, because I'm not sure if I remember seeing that on there before that happened. And I'm onto it, and I don't know. It keeps it interesting. Anyway, gangster rails. I'm not doing drugs. Everybody thinks I'm on drugs. You met me in person.
Hey, John,
you met me in person. This is just how I am, and you know it.
John, we should do like a bet in Vegas on the chances that 454 is Brad Henry. That'd be an
dude.
Everything else is being bet on in college football now.
I think it might be the same guy. Hey, Rodney, what do you make of all this transfer stuff into portal? Do you need Notre Dame to get in the mix? Do you think this is outrageous? Where do we fit into this, man?
Well, I think first of all, I think what we're going to do is we're going to start attacking the graduate portal probably a little more aggressively than we have in the past. I think that's the one we feel the most comfortable with. And I actually agree with that. And at the same time, it's going to be kind of based, obviously, on a player-by-player basis. If it's like we're losing 3 guys off our roster, we're probably going to try to find 3 guys, also with what we do in recruiting, because that matters too. So maybe we pick 1 or 2 guys that we think in the portal are an equal type of player and has the academics to get in. But there's no question, man, just from an admission standpoint, forget just transfer standpoint, Notre Dame has got to become a place that's a little more feasible to get in and not so stringent. There are some really good, collegiate athletes out there that are smart that maybe, I don't know, just some of the things that are preventing these kids from getting in. When you look at other schools that have similar academic prowess, but have a slightly, lesser admission standards or whatever it is you will, however you encapsulate that word or that phrase.
Yeah.
I just feel like Notre Dame has to loosen up a little bit, John, just a little bit, where it's more about if you want to stick with that, with something strict, then stick with the strictness of character. Make sure these are good character kids. That's I think the big thing, John. Would you agree?
That's a good point. I like what you said. You know what I always go back to? My ultimate example of this in Notre Dame-dom is famous championship quarterback Tony Rice, who wasn't going to get into Notre Dame he wasn't going to get admission. He wasn't going to get into exactly, and they weren't going to get into Notre Dame if there wasn't that special exemption program. Got him in, and then they turned out to be wonderful young men playing good football, and now they're Notre Dame legends. Like, give some guys a chance that normally wouldn't to better themselves. I thought that was the mission in Notre Dame. Go for it. And then here's the other thing with this. Some of it isn't even the academic restrictions. Literally, the amount of time Notre Dame takes to see if somebody could transfer is way too long. It is unrealistically long.
Right.
The lag time between when Freeman goes, can you guys in academic office look up in this kid and see if they can transfer over? It's taking way too long. That is inexcusable. You need to speed that timeline up like a modern place so you can get answers quicker.
Well, and John, on that note, man, I think what we said before about Marcus Freeman is the same way I feel, man. It's like, I think he's caught on to this aspect of Notre Dame a lot quicker than I thought he would. This is something Kelly was pretty good at, it seemed early on, about understanding the politics of the school. But Freeman really understands the heart and soul of the school. And it's I think he's really caught on to that a lot quicker than I expected to see. I think he gets it. And I think you're right. He's going to motivate the administration to loosen up a little bit, man, and look at things from a different standpoint. Again, from a character standpoint, I totally think that's where you got to lean towards. But if the guys, academics are good, but maybe not. Come on, you can't allow a person like that to come in. I think that's where we have to get out of our own way, and that goes across the board with transfers. And again, I totally agree. I wouldn't even want to see that. I don't want to see them get like 10 transfers in a year because there's no connection to that team. But maybe 4 or 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can deal with that. 4 or 5 really big kids that are, that are, if that combines with graduate, great. I also think that the Uli Angelale is an interesting candidate because, especially if not promised the role of starting quarterback, which I don't think you can do that. But as a competition for Buckner and for Minchie and for Angeli, I like that idea, bringing him in. Plus, the character would seem to be a fit. And I think you're right, man. I saw him play a great game against us 2 years ago. And I just wonder, new change of scenery and some new eyes on him, especially if we do something with that quarterback coaching room where we bring on a David Cutcliffe type, especially if we do that. That'd be an interesting one I'd like to see if those elements were in place.
Yeah, it's interesting with him. I'm a little nervous, but also, who are we to be picky? We just played the whole season with a guy that's like smaller than me. Like, who the hell am I to be picky? Give me a guy I've seen throw the ball with some zip.
Who the hell are we thinking we can get a transfer playoffs? Who the hell do you think we are?
Hey, how surprised were you with the Drew Pine news and the timing? How surprised were you by that?
Well, John, earlier that day, I think it was like an hour before, maybe it was a half hour before, I was on the phone with you telling you how on the line here saying how he's probably a lifer. And then I get he's the first person to go. It's crazy. I was like, that's funny, man.
Yeah, it's
now
wild.
I'm surprised. I mean, but now I'm not. When you think about it, it makes perfect sense. And I mean, perfect sense. I mean, he honestly was probably going to be left behind, and he's a good enough player, man. We could catch on somewhere. Even not necessarily even under 5 school. I was thinking something like, wow, what a crazy thing to be Deion Sanders' first quarterback or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Just has some stability, because he's the kind of guy you'd want to be. He's got leadership qualities. There's no doubt about that. And I could see him get better and better. He's got a ceiling, but I don't know. I wish the best for him, man. He's one of the few quarterbacks that's transferred that I'm really going to have my eye on and really hope he does well.
Yeah, I want him to land somewhere. Here's what I want for him. I want Drew Pine to land somewhere where people at that school don't look at him the way I look at him. And I mean that as like a partial, it's like a partial compliment to them, but like an insult to me. But also I feel validated saying that we deserve a higher level of baseline quarterback play than what he can provide. So it's like a weird dynamic where it's like, not good enough for here, but I want you to go be a star somewhere else where the standards lower is kind of what I'm saying without saying it, but it's genuinely how I feel.
Well, and John, the other thing I don't think we realized before the transfer. Apparently, he is going to graduate. Is that correct?
Who?
I don't know. I was hearing another.
Are we?
I don't remember where I heard it, but I heard a couple that he's apparently going to graduate. He's going to get his degree.
I think I saw that too, and I was confused on his classes and how that. I was confused on that too. I don't have clarity on that.
Well, I guess it would be his third year, and he could. Because he was a red shirt, I think, the 1 year.
You know what? If that's the case, if that's the case, even better, because then the guy's got a Notre Dame degree in his pocket for the rest of his life. That's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Hey,
you could say he graduated a Notre Dame quarterback. I mean, for God's sake, and was our starter. I mean, look, man, and this is the funny thing too, John. This 8-4 is sort of a sweet spot in terms of enjoying this game versus stress. Let me explain. If we were 9-3, this is the game to bring us our 10th win. There's a lot to play for. I think maybe you get Nair back for that game, maybe you get Foskey back for that game, maybe. Just to get that 10th win. The fact that it's not leaves me in a situation where if we lose the game and we're 8-5, it's like, well, I don't feel like that's a reflection of who we are really.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is obviously a step towards next year either way because of the youth, the youth movement we're going to see that on this. And if we win a game, great. We're 9-4. It's a little better than 8-4. You know what I'm saying? So I got a very kind of relaxed way of looking at this game. I don't want to see him play like crap. Obviously, I want to see it to be. But this is a good matchup. Yeah, it's a good matchup. South Carolina. It really is.
Yep, I agree. For a 4-loss on 4-loss matchup, I like that it's these young, energetic coaches trying to find their way, find their legs, build their program. I'm intrigued by it. I like it a lot. Now, Rodney, I'm going to drop a little secret here for you and the people in the chat. I am playing around with the idea of trying to go live during the bowl game and do one of those setups where I show like the score and the time on the screen and me, and I'm watching the game and I'm live, and then we kind of go through it together and people could chat, be mad. I'm playing with it. If I could figure out all the technology, I might give it a run for the bowl game and see how it goes.
Oh yeah, I'm there, man. Right on. And John, just another possibility for a charity. What about a bowling league? Something like that. You
know what?
Or not a bowling league, but bowling. Yeah.
No, here's what I think. I like maybe down the road here, maybe I get to the point where we could do 2 a year. And when the weather's nice, we do a golf thing outdoors. and then do one like do one in the winter when it's miserable and cold in the Midwest, and we could do a bowling thing and have giveaways and prize things and all sorts of stuff. I like all these ideas. I love all these ideas.
That's a great idea, man.
But you know what, man?
Idea.
You know what? You know what the Notre Dame people are always good at, like charity and that kind of stuff. And I'm not a guy sitting on millions of dollars to be able to just donate. So if I can use whatever this is to ramp up some money for a kid charity, let's do it.
And dude, my brother and my dad went out golfing. I hated golf, but I don't hate it from a visual, just from playing it. But man, I'm your caddy. I'm your caddy, man. Throw that right now. I'm your caddy.
Yeah. Well, and you know what it is? It's just one of those scrambles where people just want to drink a bunch, and you have one guy in you have one guy in your group that bangs it, and then you go hit a putt, take another shot. Go smoke one behind the bushes, take a shot. Like, it could be relaxed.
Absolutely, man. But I'm there. It sounds like a blast. I'm just not gonna play, or I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'll be a putter from a foot away.
And you know what else? I'm gonna firm up some of this. I'm really into this idea. I'm all about. I would like to be able to give back in some way, and so I think we're all gonna keep in touch on this. And it'll be good. Any other final thoughts here? What else is on your mind the rest of the week? You got a Heisman favorite? Who do you think's gonna get that award?
Yes, I just was thinking that right when you said that. I'm really rooting for Max Duggan, man. I think from a character standpoint, listen, Caleb Williams didn't necessarily do anything to hurt his chances per se, other than his team got blown out. Whereas the way I saw Duggan play at the end of the game, man, that to me, that is, and I'm not just saying it because, the F Notre Dame and all that kind of stuff and F Utah.
Yeah.
I just don't, I think characters should matter a little bit, man. And I think they're too even in terms of, what they've accomplished this year for their teams. I'm going Max Duggan. I'm going to predict him winning, man. I think that loss actually was that was a gritty loss, man. That almost felt, I know this is going to bring back bad memories or good memories in some ways, but it's almost like the Bush push game. Notre Dame didn't hurt themselves in that game. That was a game that actually improved their program while at the same time solidifying Reggie Bush as the Heisman. But you don't think the game was very similar to that. You don't think that this is the Hollywood things already wrapped up with the USC kid just because of the Hollywood and all that? You don't think it's already in the bag for that? Because a part of me wonders it. Goodness, man, I think it can go either way. I'm rooting for Duggan, but yeah, it's kind of a flip of the coin, I think, because some of those people may have already had their minds made up before that week. I don't know.
Right.
It depends.
Yeah,
man, they got their butts handed to them by Utah. So I hope that factors into it, man.
Yep. Beautiful. Hey man, thanks for the call. We covered a lot. What's up?
Anybody but Michigan. Go TCU.
Yep. I'm all about whatever that thing is with the prongs. I don't know what it is, a weird lizard, whatever it is, I'm there for it. So have a good day, man. Thanks for the call.
You got it, buddy. Take care.
See ya. Man, you guys are nice. I like you people. You guys are my friends. BVG should be coach, says 707. You're up next. BVG should be coach, says, I'll be John's tray holder for them lines. You guys, go figure. A guy blows his nose, and it turns into now there's going to be rumors that the only reason John has the personality he does is because of drugs. I don't want that. And what I've always said about drugs is, with my personality, any drugs I take are the ones that are going to bring me down. The last thing somebody with my personality needs are drugs that are going to bring me up. I need to go the other way. All right? I need to go the other way. 707, talking to you puts me into heaven. What's going on today?
Hey, John, good morning. This is Joe Long in the chat. And I just wanted I called late Monday, but I didn't get a chance. But I wanted to apologize to Angela Rudiger because I jumped on that. Someone brought up Rudy, and in my honest opinion, when that came out, I wasn't, it didn't do anything for me. But I wound up calling Notre Dame soft, because of Rudy, but not just because of Rudy. But anyway.
Yeah.
my sincerest apology to you, Angela. I didn't know you were in the chat, and I didn't mean to hurt anybody in your family.
Listen,
so
honestly,
I hope
man,
you understand.
honestly, she and I talked after that when the show was over, and we were talking, and we both had a laugh. She's used to it. She hears this our entire lives. She's heard every one of these things. Like it's all good. And she was laughing about it, and she's back here today. Like, we didn't scare her off. She's used to that.
Yeah,
And
well, I felt bad.
I appreciate that, though. That for you to say that just kind of means a lot, and it says a lot about, the kind of person you are. But just know, and she just put in the chat, it's all good. Like, she's used to it, and it's funny when it's just funny. But you get used to it when you're her and you carry that name around. It's all good. But I appreciate it very much. What else is on your mind? What do you think? There's a lot of angles here. Where's your mind at this week?
Yeah, there are a lot of different things going on. I watched a lot of college football. I tape a lot of games every week. So everyone that's bringing up that card, for some reason, I guess he's played at Texas. I just didn't remember him as being like standing out to me.
Well,
I don't remember.
I think what happened is
really
isn't what happened. Texas got the hot shot freshman recruit Ewers, the guy with the mullet, the big blonde mullet. And then he got hurt. And then this guy did pretty good when he was hurt. But the other guy's going to come back and claim the job, which is why he's probably looking to leave and start. Like, that's how that all went. A lot of people like him for Notre Dame. And Leary's another one. I have some people who want Leary, and they're reaching out to me saying that should be the guy. I don't know what to make of it.
Well, if that's the guy from North Carolina State, I liked him before he got hurt. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, that is who we're talking about.
Yeah, so I think I'd be happier with him than Card, but he's not huge, but he's a gutsy player, and I think he's got a good bullet arm, and he's got a touch pass, and that's, I think, what we were missing mostly this year. I just didn't see any touch on Pine's throws, so
yeah,
I'm
very fair.
I'm happy if we make it. But we're not going to get, like people were saying, we're just not a football school. As much as I joined in the bandwagon because my dad loved the Irish, we're not a football school. So we're not going to be able to be like USC getting 17 players. I mean, we don't pay.
Yeah.
We're not going to be this SEC. So we're going to get maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 in 1 year, but I doubt it.
I'm thinking, what are you thinking? No, wait. I'm thinking quarterback. Yes. They're going to grab a receiver, at least one receiver. Yes. I could see them grabbing a safety somewhere. And I think you could use some defensive line bolstering. So right there, I'm looking at 4 or 5 or 6 guys just out of those needs right there.
Yeah, and I would agree with every one of those. I was thinking defensive line, one guy that's just a stopper.
Yep.
And certainly quarterback. And then, you got to replace the safety that's going to be leaving. So I would agree, you might have to look at somebody there. But if it's not a great one, I like what our defensive, our defensive back coach, I think that Freeman has done really well with the people that he brought in. The only guys I question is Laurinaitis at linebacker coach, because he didn't play Collie enough. And I think we needed that. So if you don't play him, and then Reed, of course, he has to be gone. So, you can grade him this year at a C+ or a B-. But what's really going to tell the tale for the upcoming years is if he holds on to Rees. If he holds on to Rees, then my grade for him goes down to a C-. And if they do well, then I can eat those words. But Rees is, to me, the cancer that needs to be removed from this coaching staff. He's just not good enough. He's just not good enough. He wasn't a good player. What makes you think he can, produce high-level quarterbacks, like make them grow in the position? We haven't seen that. We never saw it from him as a player.
Yeah.
Just the fact that he's got a number 2 all-time passing yard, just because Notre Dame never used to throw the ball. The game changed to where everyone's throwing the ball.
All right, now let me ask this. Here's what I get thrown back at me sometimes. the group of people that are still think Reese is a visionary genius with offensive football keep telling me everything's been so limited, John. You're not seeing the scope of what this offense that Reese wants to run because we never have a guy capable of doing it. Like, that's what they say is like, it's always just wait till we have the big arm guy that can make all the throws, and then you're going to see this offense open up and be what you want. It's just that it never seems to come. When does that ever come? When do I get to that part?
It never comes. I believe you.
I just when do we get it?
You know, he just blame himself for his recruiting. You know, yeah, he's got no one to blame but himself. You know, they were lazy under Kelly. Kelly wanted to just do these 3-star quarterbacks and make them a superstar so that he could get the credit for it. But it's like, you know, you're not good enough. Get out. Get out. We need to do it quickly after this so that we can get some guy in there that start recruiting that has a name, you know, that has proven an offense.
I've seen on Twitter.
I don't have a clue who that will be,
seen
but, you know, there's plenty out there.
I've seen on Twitter, and I don't know whether it's true or not, but I've seen tweets saying Group of 5 teams are inquiring about Tommy Reese as a potential head coach option. Not Power 5, but like Group of 5, starting at a lower level. And I saw that tweet, and a part of me thought, that's intriguing. Maybe you should go on a couple interviews and see how that works out. Like, I'm open to it, buddy. Go look. Go.
I'm open to it. I would wish the best for him if he were to do that, you know?
Yeah, and then
and I think the same thing with Deion Sanders. I don't think he should go right to head coaching. I think he's got to be like, do a special teams coach. You know, you were good on punt returns and that kind of stuff. Like, start from there and see what you can do. But, you know, he's going to Colorado. When he had his first year, I think he had a quarterback that was the number 1 player in the country that went to play for him. So he'll probably get him over there in Colorado. And, you know, maybe that'll be a nice base for him to get a start from. But I don't think he's ready for it yet. And I think he's he's too much into himself more than the idea of a team. But, you know, he was a great player, and he's a competitor that wants to play with him and beat the best of the best. So I'm going to be curious to see what he can do in terms of recruiting and then actual getting coaches that around him that are be good, because he's not going to be able to do everything for sure. You know, he's more having fun with this, I think, than taking it seriously.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The one thing I'm confident in, though, I feel confident Marcus Freeman knows what needs to get done. Whether it's going to happen or not, I at least have comfort in feeling like he gets it and he's with it and locked into what the modern realities are in a way I don't even think Kelly worried about. Like, I just feel like we're in a better spot because I feel like he's aware. That dude knows what it's going to take. And that gives me some comfort I didn't have with the previous regime.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's, for me, like I said earlier, it's going to be really the determination for Notre Dame's future to either hang on to Reese again or to go after somebody new. And I think if he has any ability as a head coach to make a tough decision, this is what you're facing right now, buddy. And in the business world, when guys come in to take over a company, they make sweeping changes, you know, and they want their own people in. So let's see who you got in that Ohio State bloodline, you know, that you can talk to about offense. And, you know, that's at least start there and see what you can do, because hanging on to a guy like Reese, he hasn't shown anything, and he got too big of a position to start his career, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of it's just wild, man. There's a lot of things that overlap, and the former player angle, his connections with Kelly, man. It's all interesting. And I don't know. Half the fan base is basically split in half. It is wild when I read Twitter. Half the people look at him as a cancer. The last part connected to the Kelly era, let's cut it out. And the other half thinks the guy's great, and with better arm talent, you would see a new offense. I don't know, but you got to get it figured out. And big time decision by Freeman that you got to make these tough calls. You're the head guy in the head chair. He's got to take a look and assess where's this going.
You know, I was going to say Pine got better as the season went on, but do you attribute that to development from Reeves, or do you attribute that to playing time?
Right. Yeah, it's wild. I don't know what to make of it, man. And it's just complicated when there's those Notre Dame feelings. Like that relationship. We've known the guy since he was 17 years old. He's been in the Notre Dame consciousness. Like it's a long-term relationship. How does that impact how people are thinking of this on the good side for those who like him, and on the negative side for those like me who remember the old Tommy turnover days?
Yeah, it's not a matter of liking. You know, you got to go out there with players. They got to understand who's in charge and you know what's expected, and you know, just yelling "do your effing job" doesn't cut it. You know, that doesn't mean anything. You know.
Well, I was telling him to yell it at himself. I was telling him to yell it in the mirror.
You were doing what?
Telling him to yell that at a mirror.
Yeah.
If we're going there, go ahead and have that thought, but look at who it's directed to.
Yeah, start with yourself. You know, do your job and don't blame somebody else because you're losing to Marshall. And you're you know, come on.
Yeah.
Just go somewhere else. I don't know.
All right, but what if I told you, what do you want him to do? He's dealing with the backup guy and the starter got injured. What do you expect him to do? That's where that discussion leads next, man. That's always what I get next is, it isn't even the starter, and what do you expect and all that? And then that's when I say, have the backup be taller than a guy that played in the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, and not only that, but we had 14 or so starters returning. So, you know, you made the changes Freeman-wise. You made the good. Stuckey's a great. I like him at wide receiver. I just don't think we're as bad as people think, but they always say that. But you know, I think we have a good stable of receivers there that are waiting to break out if there's a good quarterback and a good coach that can get them the ball.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I
really do like Jaden Thomas. I think he was great he's a freshman.
Yeah. And you know what else? And Colsey came on at the end of the year and he started to emerge. And then you're going to add in Flores and all these guys and great out there. I just think you're trending up. You're trending up, but you got to get the quarterback situated.
And he even made Lindsey look a little bit better by the end of the year, you know? We were without Avery Davis. And so, I mean, I think that was a pretty darn good showing, you know, considering they don't get the ball and we're primarily a running team this year. And when that doesn't work, you know, it's like, well, you can't blame the wide receivers being weak. You know, you just have to get better plays and mix it up a little bit. But you know, they had Mayer, so they got to 8 wins.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So what are you looking forward to in the bowl game? You want to see a youth movement? What are you expecting to see in this matchup? It's kind of an interesting dynamic.
I totally want to see. I want to see Spindler play a lot. I want to see Lugg sit out. I want to see Carell sit out.
Okay, but is that realistic?
See,
that is what we want because I'm looking at development, figuring this year's borderline over. I'm ready to look at the future. That's how fans view it. That's how I view it. Is that realistic, though? Does the staff view it that way? Or do we see a blend where it's not a full youth movement, but they're giving some guys meaningful playing series in a bowl game environment? What are we likely to see?
I honestly think that if Laurinaitis doesn't play Collie, he's gonna leave, and I don't want that to happen. I'd love to see Drake Bowen play with him. I'm not so sold. Everyone's really very high on Drake Bowen. I saw his high school tape, and to me, he looked better on offense than defense. So, I mean, everyone's talking about how good he's going to be, and he apparently put up numbers this year, so that's a good thing. But I'd like to see him, you know, him and Keon Keeley and Collie play together and see what Burnham, you know, Ziegler, you know, I want to see all these kids, you know, see the field on this game, but that might be asking a lot. But that's what they should do because this season's over. We're looking to the future. Let's see what these kids can do in the game situations, you know?
That is how I view it. It's never okay to lose a game. I am not saying it's not important to win the bowl. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. But I also think it's very fair to look at it as we have 4 losses. If you win this game by 100, it isn't going to move the needle. It would behoove you to get some younger guys energized and in the right mind frame and ready to go. So I want to see some of that youth movement, and you might be pleasantly surprised at what happens.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do. If you want to look at the future, you have to give these kids a chance to show you what they might be able to do. And if you'd never play them and you play these seniors and wish them well in the draft, it's like, well, you're not doing what's best for you and Notre Dame. You're letting them, get a chance to show what they've showed all year. So when you see what Lugg has done all year, I don't think he'd probably be a 5th round draft choice at best. And Correll won't get drafted. So, you might as well make those changes now and look at the future. That's what you have to do at Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting, man. But I just feel like overall, I'm kind of relieved this year 1 transitional period's coming to an end. And now I think you'll start to see more cohesion, more structure, more direction from Marcus moving forward. I just think this year one was a whirlwind. The timing was odd. Doing the best you can to get through it. Now is your time to start recalibrating things. Now is a big critical moment. So let's see where Freeman wants all this to go.
Yeah, you almost have everyone in place. I mean, Mason as that special teams coach was great.
Love him.
The defensive back coach has been outstanding because of, their and I give credit to Al Golden for that, because he's the one that's tried to have so many different players play this year, and they all did. So we got to get a pretty good example of what's coming up, and I like what they did in the defensive backfield. The only thing I question is, Dylan McClellan has been fantastic for the running backs, and the wide receiver, Stuckey, has done well. So
yeah, and you know what I like about them? You know what I like about those guys you just mentioned? Not only are they active and very engaged recruiters, but they're very, very good communicators. And I've heard from everybody that they're really good teachers. And that is important because Notre Dame's going to be because Notre Dame's going to be in a position in the next couple of years, flipping the rest of the Kelly roster, where young guys might be called on, and a lot of them to play early. That teachability and communicative nature really matters when you're trying to do that with younger guys. And I've heard the secondary has that, and the wide receivers.
Notre Dame's not getting those top 10 players in the country in top 20s.
Yeah,
they're getting lesser. So the teaching is much more important to them.
Yeah, and you didn't get any of that in the wide receiver room. You didn't get the recruiting or the development or the teaching. You got nothing out of that. So it's a big improvement here. It really is.
Yeah, even Chase Claypool wasn't a highly touted, but what's that guy? Michael Floyd was like the last one that we got that was really a superstar, and he proved it.
Yep. So I don't know, man. It's going to be really, really interesting. So any other final thoughts? Good call. Good thoughts.
My main goal was to apologize to Angela and Deborah Thomas too, because she got a lot from that. It helped her through nursing school, so I'm happy for her too, that movie. So my apologies to you too, Deborah.
No, beautiful. This is a good group we have here, man. It's great. And Angela's all good. And so we're all good here, but I appreciate your consideration, my friend. You have a good rest of the week.
Thanks a lot. You too.
Take care. Go Irish. Telling you, man, we got nice people here. Even most of the mean ones are nice in the chat most of the time. Frank McCattry. John, you're insanely entertaining. The Reese talk makes your head explode. I love it. Dump his ass. Dump his ass. Dump his ass. All right. 618-219. Going to be the last 2 calls of the day. 618, make it great. What's going on today?
How you doing today, John?
I'm doing very well. I just got a lot of topics rolling around in my brain. What do you think of all this?
Yeah, I was thinking about the quarterback portal. I was thinking about, man, I wouldn't go into the portal so much, to get a quarterback. I'll just develop. And other 3, you have Minchie there next year. You have, you still got Buckner and you got Angelic. Whoever the best of the 3, man, that's win the spot, and let's see what they can do.
I feel like they feel nervous going into another year with a completely unknown situation. Minchie would be an unknown, Angeli's an unknown, and Buckner is still an unknown. And I think that's what's driving that decision. I do not think they feel they can afford the risk of entering a year not knowing exactly what the skill set of their quarterback could be.
And that that falls on the OC. I mean, maybe he could see which one he can get the best out of, or whatever. Majority of these kids when they come into school, they're unknowns. I mean, let's just see what either or could do, man. Just coach them up and get them ready.
Yeah. It's I don't know. And then you're going to end up with the following year is going to be really interesting because you're going to have Minchie as a second-year guy, and then you're also going to have CJ Carr coming in. That's where I think you start seeing some real competition.
Yeah, and these quarterbacks submitted to you. Maybe you go with the best one out of the other three. I mean, maybe Minchie is the best of the three. But he's just like Buckner. He stayed injured in high school.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. What do you think of this portal stuff? The big amount of numbers, 3,085 guys just last year alone. Do you think it's good for the sport, bad for the sport, or it's just the way it goes now, get on board or get lost?
I'm guessing that's just a way of everything that's going on nowadays. I mean, but I think it's bad for the sport, man. If you're gonna, especially with the quarterback this will be his fourth school. I mean, after year one, you don't want to be there. Okay, fine. You're going to sit out a year.
Yeah. Listen, what do you make of this? Some people are saying this is a sign of the times. Everybody's told they're the best. They're great. They're number one. Everybody gets a trophy, and nobody's willing to sit as the second string guy and earn it after a year or two anymore. That entitlement, that everybody gets a trophy mentality, does that play into this?
Yes. And I feel like, man, look, man, if you, unless you just feel like you're that much better than what's in front of you, I would make them sit, man. I feel like, everybody should be patient. Their time will come. And if your time has come and you think you that much better, you show when your time comes.
Yeah. I don't think you're seeing as much of that anymore. And you know where this is really going to impact? You know what? These higher level programs with a ton of talent, Alabama, places like that, guys that are highly rated guys that are behind highly rated guys, they're not going to stick around because those are guys that are Saban's got to not like this because he can't stack all these guys and make them sit. You got to make them happy or they're going to leave. It's changing that dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, the first time going into the portal, I understand because you feel like you're better than somebody. But then, like I said, the quarterback, I can't think of where he played at, and JT Daniels, and you've been in the portal 3 times, and you're going back in there for a fourth. I mean, man, you have to sit out every single year, and maybe even make them lose a year of eligibility.
Yeah, it is, but it's all about player empowerment and their autonomy and them being able to do what they want to do. And it's like you just either need to adapt or you're going to get left behind. I don't see any other way. Hey, man, what do you make of this playoff field? What do you make of this? Do you think TCU can hang in there with Michigan? Is there any chance Michigan and Ohio State have a repeat? What if Ohio State's so pissed off about what happened to Michigan, they light Georgia on fire, and we end up with a Big Ten rematch? What if that happens?
I think Georgia's on. They look like they're on a mission this year, man. They're looking like they're on a mission to repeat. I don't think anybody beat Georgia at this point. And the Michigan games, TCU, I mean, that can go either way, but I got Michigan winning by a touchdown.
Yeah. And you got a Heisman front runner. Who you think's getting that award?
I think it's going to be Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I think they got the Hollywood movie script written up for that already. That's kind of what I think. They got it all wrapped into Hollywood, baby.
And then Lincoln Riley, I guess he'll be like Mr. Heisman Trophy because all his quarterbacks win Heisman.
Yeah, exactly. And then I don't know, man. It's kind of wild. What do you think of the expanded playoff? Do you think that helps Notre Dame? It's easier to get in, but harder to win once you're in. Do you think that's a positive for the Irish?
Yeah, I think it's going to be easier. I think it's going to be easier for them to win. But I thought instead of going to a 12 team, they should have maybe went to an 18 playoff.
I think the thought was, if we're going to expand it and we're going to do this, we're going to maximize that revenue. I don't think there was a half measure. I think they kind of knew 12's a sweet spot and it's money, 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 money.
But, all these programs don't generate money. I mean, a place like Notre Dame, if you're sitting at number 13 and you got a team that's at number 12 that don't travel well, why not jump Notre Dame over that team sitting at number 12 or because of the way they travel if it's going to be about money?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the reality is with these TV deals, in a few years, Rutgers and Maryland in the Big Ten are going to be getting $100 million a year just from the TV revenue. It's absolutely going to be an outrageous TV deal where even the lowest rated teams in the Big Ten are looking at 90 to 100 million a year. It's unbelievable profit and it's all money, man. But it's going to be wild. Can you imagine Notre Dame hosting a home playoff game in late December? Can you imagine that excitement?
That's going to be wild, man.
The colder the better. The colder the better, baby. Bring me some of them warm weather teams up to South Bend Christmas week. I want to see it. I want them shivering, lighting barrels of trash on fire to stay warm. I want it all.
Yeah, you're not going to work for them warm weather teams, man. They're not going to fare well in South Bend. And you see what happened to Clemson in the beginning of November, man. When it's not really cold outside, just imagine what it'll do to them teams that's from like the Florida
Oh,
State.
yeah.
And
Yep.
all
SEC
Miami,
land.
They don't want to come to South Bend.
Oh, yeah.
In late December.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Anything else on your mind, man? About to wrap up the show here.
Yeah, nah, that's all, John.
Beautiful. Hey, I really appreciate the call, man. It's been a while since I've been able to connect with you. Circle back with me, all right? Make sure you're in the loop. Anytime something pops in your head, give me a call.
Okay.
Have a good day, man. You take care of yourself. And we're going to wrap it up. 219, you're on the line. What's going on today?
Oh, man, I love calling just to keep you on a little longer, being the last call, John.
I had to get you in. You know I'm going to give you your time. What's on your mind today? Listen, you know what? You're messing with me. You're messing with me. Every time you text me something like late at night, Notre Dame, it's always something I'm sitting there racking my brain. You're starting to freak me out, man. You really are starting to freak me out because all of the stuff, even some of the small stuff you worry about, rattles around in my head every day. We are so much on the same page, it scares the hell out of me.
That's funny.
I know.
Funny, a true Irish fan. We're laying in bed just thinking about it.
I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's what I do. I lay there at night and think about Notre Dame football, man. It's just how I am.
And my wife tells me, something, you're crazy. You have issues. If you cared about other things as much as you do about that football team, we'd be a lot better off.
It's just not the same. She needs to know that. It's not the same. This is different. This is totally different. And I just tell people, it ain't a choice, man. The way we are, people like us with this stuff, no, at no point in our lives did I wake up and decide I'm going to be a lunatic Notre Dame person. It's just in me, man.
Yep, you were just born this way. Being Irish Catholic.
I know. It's never going away. Where are you at on any of these issues? Pick one or two of them that are most, pinging in your mind, and let's hit your thoughts on them.
it's just the transfer portal, how wild it is. It's got to be so hard for these coaches to like maintain a roster, not knowing who's coming and going, ain't it?
I just wonder sometimes if I'm old and out of touch for thinking that this might just get to a critical mass where it levels back out, like where it just goes so far that it just balances back as things naturally tend to want to find like a balance. It's just a lot of movement, and I have a hard time not calling it free agency and calling it students in some of these cases.
Yeah, and some of it like frustrates me, like the way USC did it. I mean, LSU did it, TCU did it. The way you're almost like buying or convincing these kids. You're tampering with kids on other teams and bringing them in. That bothers me. I don't like that.
Yeah, and there's tampering going on all over. I'm told people are tampering with Drake May. I cannot verify that, but I have had it hinted to me by a couple people I get some information from that get information from other people that have a history of being right in terms of Notre Dame injuries or recruiting. So I have a history with them. And they've indicated you just send somebody to throw a flyer over to Drake May's camp and just go. Would $1 million check make you rethink wanting to stay with Mac Brown in North Carolina? And I've just heard that that's kind of how this stuff's going.
Yeah, it's dirty. It just feels dirty. But on the other end, you kind of like that team. Maybe like for example, like Alabama or Texas A&M or some of those other schools where they're loading up their roster with guys that would sit the bench. Those kids can go somewhere else and play, and it's almost leveled the playing field a little bit.
Yeah. It's wild. I don't. And then you know what the other issue is? There's a large percentage of these guys that enter the portal and they don't land somewhere. All of them don't go back to their original school. What happens to the other ones? You're out of big time college football then? What happens then?
Yeah, I don't know.
28.
Yeah, there's so.
I don't get it. I think some of these guys think it's an easy answer and then they realize it actually isn't for everybody. I think it's very situational depending on who you are.
I mean, like the one example I can think of is Mac Jones, how he sat behind like Hurts and Tua all them years. And, most guys would have left and transferred, but he hung around and it was real good for him because Alabama had so much talent. But he got his 1 year and it was great for him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And then what do you feel about the transfer quarterback dynamic? It appears obvious Notre Dame's going to try and get a guy. Card and Leary are the two guys. If May's like not happening or a dream or the cost is too much, if you believe those rumors, yeah, Leary and Card are two guys that a lot of Notre Dame people are bringing up. And then some people are interested in DJU and other people are a little hesitant. What do you think of them guys?
Yeah, that was going to be my main question. Has anyone else heard anything else about May? Because we saw that original report.
Rumors. I was told. I was told late last night. I was told that my guy said, I know of at least one school that's gone under the table, reached out to May's camp around $1 million to get him to leave, gauging interest. Not saying he's going to do it or enter the portal, but trying to decide is there any interest here? Does this amount of money help you? And it's not direct. You have a guy who knows their camp and they just mention it. It's not traceable. And you just see if you throw some bait in the water and see if they're interested.
Yeah, because if you can get him, you're a playoff team probably immediately as soon as he gets to Notre Dame. Somehow you could get him.
Changes everything right away.
Yeah.
It just does. It changes everything right away. Even if the money's not involved, I could argue somebody going to him and going, you're not going to win a Heisman or a championship in North Carolina. Go somewhere where the overall talent and infrastructure is bigger. Like, I could see that being an argument.
That would be my push to him, too. Like, if you want to be a playoff team and a Heisman guy, knowing that 1 year he's going to the NFL. He's gone. Because he said he didn't play his freshman year. So he was, what was he, a red shirt freshman this year? So he's gone next year.
Yeah.
So if I was Notre Dame trying to get him, I'd be like, you have no brighter lights than coming and being the quarterback of Notre Dame. If you can be a playoff team, you'll win the Heisman.
Yeah, it would be, man, that is the guy. All season, I keep asking, my go-to is, where's our Drake May? Young, big body, makes all the throws, tough, like leader already, guy you win your games because of already, all the stuff I want out of a guy. He checks the boxes.
But it seems like most people like that Texas guy.
Yep, Card and Leary are the two people. Now, I admit I am not an expert enough at researching quarterback play to know which one would be the best fit for Notre Dame specifically. Like, I'm not acting like I'm an X's and O's guy. Everybody knows that's not the point of my show. I am not an X's and O's show. I'm a guy who talks about how all this makes you feel is kind of my angle. So I don't know, man, but I don't think they can go into another year not knowing what they have at the most important position.
If Buckner lights it up in the bowl game, do you think they would consider doing nothing?
I feel like the wheels are already so far in motion on the transfer that it's going to happen. That's what I feel. And I don't think that's going to change. And they can't not be pursuing those guys between now and the bowl game. So I think they're already in that path of figuring out a transfer, and I think that's just going to happen. And I think that's another reason the Pine thing happened, is because Freeman knew they were going to use that quarterback spot for a guy like that, and that's a part of that decision too.
Yeah, it's got to be. They had to told them that that's what they were going to do.
Yeah,
and I know I said this Monday. I would really think about DJU because that's just. There's a lot of talent there that for some reason has not been tapped. But
why? How do you wait a second? How it wasn't that long ago that he put up like 500 something yards at Notre Dame Stadium, right? What happened?
Yeah, we've seen it.
We've seen
that guy, and we said, "Oh goodness, Clemson is going to have another guy."
Right. Because he was a true freshman, came to Notre Dame. We won the game, but he threw for like 500 something yards. And then what happened? What's going on at Clemson that everything nosedived after that?
Yeah, it makes no sense. The guy was I think I read he was the number 1 or number 2 overall recruit. Went to Clemson.
He had all the hype. He had all the hype. He did.
Came to Notre Dame Stadium, lit us up. And then if for some reason it never worked out. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But there's a lot of moving parts. Do you get the inclination that I do that Freeman is being allowed a little more flexibility in the undergraduate transfer pool? I have heard, read, see things, and I feel like it isn't going to be open the floodgates, do whatever you want. But I do have an inclination there's becoming some more flexibility there, and I think it's going to be key for success moving forward.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I texted you the other night. Doesn't it seem like we're in the news for guys like way more than we have in the past? It seems like they're way more involved.
Yeah, they are more involved. Freeman thinks everything. I'm not saying you could get everything done, but Freeman thinks of everything. That means a lot to me. I'm just telling you, I rest easy at night, putting a head to the pillow, knowing this guy knows what it takes. He does. I could just tell by what he's doing. He knows what it's going to take here, and it's not freaking easy, but he sees the path.
You know how you know he gets it is he's addressing the rumors that are coming up for players are the same positions we've been talking about since September that we've been venting about. So he sees it. He sees what we see.
Yeah, he does. And that gives me comfort. That gives me, exactly. That is what gives me the comfort. The ultimate Kelly frustration was me seeing what needed to change and him not making an effort to do any of it.
Yeah, a lot of times football coaches can be like, I'm the smartest guy in the room. You're a fan. You don't know what you're seeing. We're going to keep just working harder. Well, obviously Freeman sees the shortcomings of the team, and that is really refreshing, and it really makes you feel good.
Yeah, I think we're trending in the right direction. Recruiting is, the vibe is. I tell you all the time, I can't put a number on it. There's no equation. This just feels different. And at Notre Dame, that matters a lot because of the nuance and the politics in the administration. Like Notre Dame's just not a typical place in the way they operate and see the world. That vibe matters. Everybody's on board with Marcus. I think it's all trending up. That overall arrow's trending up. And I can't wait to get to about 2 years from now and see where the roster's at.
Yep, definitely, John. I'll let you go, but it's good. Everything's trending up. Just remember too, as everybody, as we're going through these next couple of years and letting Freeman rebuild, this schedule is 10 times what Kelly had for about the last 5 years.
It is.
So he's playing a much tougher schedule.
Yep.
And he's trying to make our recruiting elite. So this is going to take a little time. It just is.
Yeah, it is. But I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing. And it looks like the administration wants to work with him a little bit in a modern way. That needs to be a part of it. But I'm excited about the future. What's going to happen when our roster gets flipped a couple more times and then the new playoff starts? It's going to be a very exciting time for Notre Dame. Hang in there, because this is going to get exciting.
Yep, definitely. All right, John, I'll get off. I'll let you go, but we'll talk to you soon.
Beautiful. Have a good day, my friend. And tell your wife that I'm going to show up someday so then we can both drive her nuts. And we're just going to drink and talk about Notre Dame the whole time until she runs away.
She secretly likes it.
I hope so.
Going to the game.
Oh, man.
She loves going to the game. When I first started listening to you, she'd be like, "Can you turn that down? I can't stand that voice." But now she's like, "Oh no, I like John."
Yeah,
she's like,
that's right.
He's got to get always annoyed back. That was my favorite.
Yeah, hey, listen, you know what we should do? If we really want to mess with her, when it's like her birthday or your anniversary or something, give me her number and I'm going to leave her a voicemail and just go, "That's right. Happy anniversary." Oh, all right, man. Have a good one. Enjoy. Give me a call Friday. We'll talk.
All right, man. We'll talk to you
later. See ya.
Bye.
I'm telling you guys, this was a good show today. I'm just in a good mood because I'm feeling healthier. I don't realize how crappy I felt for about 3 weeks. I think I was a lot sicker than what I realized or something. But the energy's starting to come back, and I'm in it to win it. So that's the deal. Thank you to everybody for being here, except for the trolls that are changing their names that I have to block, that have nothing good to say about Notre. Why start your day in a Notre Dame chat and have nothing good to say about Notre Dame, nothing good to say about Notre Dame's coaches, nothing good to say about me hosting this show? Like, why even bother? What do you get out of it? If it's all negative and you hate everything and I'm an idiot too, why are you even here? I don't get it. I just don't get how some people spend their time. I don't get it. But most of you are fantastic, and I appreciate your support. So wonderful show, and we're going to keep it going. And I'm going to come up with some creative stuff this off season. We're going to have more stuff coming our way. All right? Hang in there. Have a good day, everybody.